Hi and welcome to Mark's Motivational Podcast, Music Sunday episode. Big thanks to everyone for tuning into this episode today. Because today I had the pleasure of welcoming an artist whose music is as raw and emotionally charged as it is beautifully crafted. Ella Marie is a classically trained pianist and an award-winning lyricist who has captivated audience with her ability to seamlessly blend vulnerability and power in her music, drawing comparisons to legends like Fleetwood Mac and Fiona Apple. Ella Marie's sound is both timeless and uniquely her own, pulling listeners into deeply personal narratives with every note. Her latest single, Cat Eyes, takes us on a journey through the chose and confusions of love triangles, exploring the torment of jealousy, intimacy, and emotional unraveling. Through haunting piano melodies and explosive crescendos of drums and guitar, Ella Marie paints a vivid picture of heartbreak, desire, and self-doubt. The song is a masterclass in storytelling. So I really hope you enjoy this episode of Music Sunday with Ella Marie. And make sure you check out all her music that I'm going to share on the podcast show notes, the links. Okay, enjoy the episode and thanks for tuning in. Take care. Thank you. Welcome to Mark's Motivational Podcast, another a Music Sunday episode. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Ella Marie. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. So I'm welcoming you, welcome you along. Thanks a lot for joining me, Ella.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's great. So I love your music. It's really good. First of all,
Thanks. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
yeah, it's brilliant. So we might start the podcast off. Your new single, Cat Eyes, is incredible, evocative, and emotionally charged. Could you walk us through the moment or experience that first inspired you to write the song, please?
Yeah, so without being too specific, because I
Yeah,
have a bit of an issue where when I write music, if
yeah,
it's about someone, they will inherently know that it's about them because I'm
of
so
course, yeah,
specific about
of
writing.
course, yeah,
Um, but I wrote it when I got into a relationship with someone who was just out of a relationship or sort of a relationship. And so the other person was a bit difficult to get rid of from my own life and theirs. And I think the song, like, although it sounds kind of like sort of a breakup track, it's more so about comparing yourself to another person. Because I think, like, as a teenager, and maybe like more of sort of a girl thing, I'm not too sure because obviously I wouldn't know. But I think when you go through something, a lot of your reaction would be trying to compare yourself to someone. So when that person is like handed to you on a silver platter, it's so much easier to compare yourself. So I think that's like a lot of what it's about is comparing yourself to another person.
yeah, right. And
Yeah.
great. So, where did the ideas come from with your music? Because I love your style of music. Because I know you've been compared to Fleetwood Mac and all that. That's incredible. So, when did you start writing music yourself, Ella?
I started writing music very, very young. Um, I've been in piano lessons since I was 6, so I'm
Okay.
19 now. What would
Yeah,
that be about 13 years?
yeah,
Um, God, that math could be wrong now. But my I showed an interest in writing very, very young. I wrote a song called it's called Castle on Killiney, which doesn't really make sense.
mhm,
But I played it at a recital. My piano teacher used to do one songwriting class with me, one or two a month. So I think it's always been a focus of mine. But in COVID, I started to take it way more seriously because I realized it was pretty much like what I was best at out of everything that I do.
right, right, great stuff. Congratulations to you. And do you have? You mentioned before we started the podcast. Have you any kind of gigs lined up, or what's next for yourself for people to keep an eye out for, Ella Marie?
I actually don't have much gigs lined up. I'm definitely focusing on writing.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing to do. I've just finished the leaving cert and stuff. I've been really busy all year. So I I tend to focus more on writing, and that's when I make up for lost time, it would be more with writing and not gigging, but I
Okay.
would
Yeah.
definitely like to start doing that soon.
Great stuff. Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned as well, Ellen Marie, that Cat Eyes is about both intimacy and jealousy and the challenges of rational thinking when consumed by emotions. How do
Yeah.
you um, channel such intense feelings into your songwriting process? So how do you?
Um, well, when I'm writing sort of right after you know, emotional difficulty, I think it happens quite a bit quicker than if I'm just sitting down with a set plan to write about something, that might have happened a while ago, or I just feel like I haven't written in a while and I want to do it. It happens way quicker. I wrote Cat Eyes in a day, but also what tends to happen is that it needs a bit more polishing afterwards because the prior, you know, plan and thinking hasn't been done. So it takes a bit of time to polish it up afterwards, but I still would say that it happens a bit quicker than if I just had a set plan to sit down and write. But it also, the negative about that is that it will happen at a really inconvenient time. Like I wrote this song when I was supposed to be studying for my leaving cert. I think I finished it I recorded it the week after the leaving cert. So I
Okay.
finished it about 2 weeks beforehand. So, you can't really plan when something's going to happen.
Hmm.
And I do use it as an outlet. So it happens at kind of inconvenient times because it's so unplanned. But it's good to, I'm grateful to have an outlet for stuff like that.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well done. And like, do you have a kind of a strategy with your music as well? Would you? I had someone in the podcast before that keeps a notepad and pen beside their locker or wherever it is, and they just seem to, when they come up with ideas, not to forget them or record it into a tape. Is that something you do yourself,
Yeah,
Ellen
I
Marie?
have a good few songwriting books that I've gotten
Okay.
through that I've
Yeah.
written. I've always taken the approach of using songbooks. I didn't realize that people don't even really use them anymore and they use their notes app and stuff. I've always been one to write it down. Yeah, I think I've been through about four or five. But if I get an idea, sometimes I get an idea in the middle of the night and
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
voice memos in my phone of me like whispering into my phone.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's on rare occasion. Usually I do write it down and I would keep a voice memo as well, just so I know what it sounds like in case I forget.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was kind of asked this people I had on the podcast before. But would you kind of, when you're writing a song, let's say, would you kind of write the lyrics first, or put the melody together first, or do you do it at different times, or whatever works?
Um, Sometimes it does happen at different times. I
Yeah,
think that if I have an idea for lyrics, I wouldn't really write a melody without having an idea of something that I want to write about.
yeah,
I think lyrics are very important to me, so I would usually sort of base the instrumental around the content of the lyrics.
hmm,
Um, but sometimes I like writing poetry as well. So sometimes if I write an instrumental without lyrics, I usually have them somewhere in one of my books to go with the melody that I've written.
yeah, yeah,
So it happens differently each time, I would say, which sounds a bit silly, but I think it's
mm,
true.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
no, no, definitely, yeah, no, great stuff. And where can people listen to your music? Is it on Spotify, or where can people? Yeah, great stuff. Uh,
It's on all platforms and usually sometimes when I write a new song that I'm happy with, I'm a bit self-critical, but I would post it on TikTok as well. And my
yeah,
TikTok
yeah,
is Ella Marie C Music. But yeah, I'm right now Cat Eyes is on all platforms. And I have another song called 17, which also is.
brilliant. Yeah. And how do you find using Spotify in general? Because some people like, no, don't not mad about. But how do you find it yourself?
Um, I I find it very satisfying. I think it's to me it's rewarding. I always say that I wouldn't mind being broke if I just got to do this forever.
Yeah,
As long as
yeah,
I have some sort of sustainability in my life, then I don't really mind.
yeah,
Like I know that it's not very financially rewarding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But, seeing people, I think it's really, really cool seeing people listening to your music. Like, that's crazy to me. I was actually out last night and someone came up to me in a club and was like, "Oh, I love your new song." And that's
Wow.
crazy. That's one of the
Yeah,
first times that's ever happened to me that it wasn't someone that I knew.
brilliant.
So I think it's very rewarding
Mm.
being on media, you know.
And do you use Bandcamp, Ella Marie, yourself? Do you use that platform?
I actually don't.
Okay, yeah,
I'm quite I've been quite an anomaly up until this song. So, I'm
okay,
planning to
yeah.
get more out there with my next track and with this
Mm.
one as well.
Oh yeah, great stuff. Yeah, brilliant. That's just ideas that people are listening might spark something. That's because I've
Yeah.
used that myself. It's quite good, you know. Yeah, that's great. And yeah, the song transition from soft, vulnerable piano to intense drums and a guitar. How do you use these musical dynamics to reflect the emotions roller coaster in the lyrics in your lyrics,
Well, I
Ella?
feel like I'm probably a bit biased to this question because I've played piano for my whole
Okay.
life, but I
Yeah.
would say that it's one of the most dynamic instruments. I think it conveys so much emotion, even when you listen. I love classical music, so I
Yeah.
think you can really tell in classical music, like the pieces that would make you cry, I'm gonna assume would be piano, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's also really easy to sort of build a skeleton with piano of a song that you can sort of see it coming together before you even add stuff like drums and bass and guitar. Because like if you're getting more intense in the song and you go down the octave and you play lower notes on the bass, that's sort of when you know it's going to get heavy. And
Mm.
you can play so softly on the piano. I think it's really cool. And I think I definitely use softer dynamics to sort of be more honest. I feel like piano is just it's so similar to a voice. That's the best way I could
Yeah.
describe it. So I think it's really good for, you know, pre-production. I think it builds a great canvas for all of that.
Sounds great. Yeah, yeah, because it's a lovely instrument, really is. I agree with you 100%. And can I ask you as well, have you been into many recording studios yourself, Ella Marie? Have you enjoyed that experience? Have you got to record many of your stuff professionally?
I actually, I haven't really gotten into much studios before
Okay,
Beer
yeah,
Choir. I thought it was an amazing experience though. I'm so excited to go back now that I've gotten to do that.
yeah,
But of course, like there was COVID, and then I was doing my
mm,
leaving cert,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
there was the job search, which
yeah,
was
yeah,
tough.
yeah,
It was very tough. It's
mm,
hard getting hired as a student in Dublin. But
yeah,
now that I've got all that sorted, I'm so excited to keep doing it. Like it's all I want to do.
yeah,
So and there's studios in college now, so I'm excited to
right,
learn how to do stuff like that myself. And my boyfriend, he's going to be studying production, which is very exciting. I'm just really excited to work with other students doing music as well. I think it's going to be great.
yeah.
So
Yeah, because years ago I went to a recording studio and it was run by students. It was in Temple Bar Center, and
yeah, I think
it
that's where my boyfriend.
it was a great experience for them, like because they gotten to learn on the job, and then it was great for artists that haven't got a lot of money. So, like it is a great thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good. I'm super
Yeah,
excited for on
yeah,
myself
yeah, yeah. And
utilizing.
mm, and do you use programs to record yourself at home as well, Ella Marie? Is that
Yeah, I've experimented with a few different ones. Of course, like
mm,
I got a MacBook a few years ago,
yeah,
and I, started using GarageBand, and then I threw myself into the deep end also. So I tried when I started trying to produce my own stuff, I started with Pro Tools,
mm,
which my advice would be not to do that. It is so confusing and it's
yeah,
like so much money. So if you're
mm,
spending that and you don't know
yeah.
what you're doing,
Mhm.
it's just pointless. That's what I did. But now I'm definitely looking into working with Logic, maybe I'd like to.
Logic,
So
yeah.
yeah, I definitely want to start doing stuff like that myself anyways.
And have you approached any radio stations for airtime yourself as well?
Yeah, I've actually been on a few
Okay. Yeah.
this past week or two, which is really, really exciting
Great.
because
Yeah.
I wasn't really on the my last song. I didn't know it was even possible.
Hmm.
So it's really exciting. I was played on 98 FM and Today FM, which is crazy. It's like what
Cool.
me and my mom would listen to on the way to school. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just a
yeah.
few weeks ago. So
Brilliant.
uh,
Yeah. Well
actually
done.
mad.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's
thank
brilliant.
you.
It's well deserved as well because your music's excellent, awesome. It's great. No, thanks a lot. Thanks for coming on. You're very good. And you've
No
been
problem.
compared. Obviously, we were talking about earlier on. You've been compared to artists like Fleetwood Mac and Fiona Apple. How have these
Yeah.
artists influenced your sound? And are there other influences that have shaped your music style, Ella Marie?
Um, I have the biggest. I actually have here. I have a tattoo of Fiona Apple's eyes on
Oh,
my
very
arm.
good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think she is. I think she's the greatest songwriter of all time. I think the thing I'm most tried to take away from my own music is that I feel like minus her lyrics, her songs are pieces in themselves. If you listen to Never Is a Promise, I think it's one of the most instrumentally impressive songs ever, and it's pretty much just mainly piano. So I think that says a lot about me as well. Um, and then Stevie Nicks, I think my biggest takeaway from I love Stevie Nicks. I love Fleetwood Mac, but I love Stevie Nicks. And I think my biggest actually I have a Stevie Nicks poster right there.
Oh, cool. Great stuff. Yeah.
I think my biggest takeaway from Stevie Nicks' music is how much emotion she puts into her songs. I think I also find it very difficult to feel connected to a song that I've written if I didn't completely just pour out everything I was thinking. So I think it makes me feel, her music definitely made me feel safer in doing that. And then I think other songwriters I admire are people with like multifaceted lyrics. I think I just love poetic songs. I actually like do struggle with that because I sort of say everything as it is, and I would love to be a bit more poetic, like sort of like Sufjan Stevens type vibes.
Okay.
So I think that's definitely something I'm working on trying to do. But I also don't think it's a bad thing that I'm so honest on my songs. But
Definitely. No,
yeah,
it's a great thing. Yeah, definitely. Because when you're singing, they can really hear the emotion. So that's amazing. Great stuff.
thank you.
Yeah, no, great. And what's your favorite song by Stevie Nicks? What would be your favorites?
Ooh, that's a big question.
Yes, fair
I think
question.
Rhiannon, the live version from 1977 at Fabulous Forum in Inglewood is my favorite version. And if you listen to it, you'll understand what I mean. It's extended. It's amazing. And I also think she wrote a song called Planets of the Universe, which is a great song. Smile at You is also a great song. Gold Dust Woman. Um, okay, I'll stop now.
The list goes on. Yeah, no,
Go
it's
on for ages.
I do a bit of DJing myself, and I get a lot of people asking for Gypsy. You know that song, Gypsy. It's a great song.
Oh, I forgot that one.
Yeah,
That's probably
yeah,
as well.
yeah. It's class, isn't it? Really
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Have you ever seen them live?
Oh my God, no.
No.
She came here and I was on my sixth year holiday.
Okay.
I so almost sold every ticket, but then if I had sold my ticket, my friends would have had to pay more. So
Okay.
I just I took it on the shoulder, but it was painful. It was really painful.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, no, that's great. Thanks very much for that. And the theme of Cat Eyes centers around love triangles and the torment of the other woman. What do you hope listeners take away from the song, especially those who might relate to the experience?
Well, I think the most important thing is that when I wrote it, it was true to me. It was how I felt. And when I sing it now and when I hear it now, I still feel that way. Like I can transport myself back to it. But my life is so different now and everything has improved so much. Um, yeah, I think just the main takeaway is that it really did improve for me. And even though I felt like that in the moment, once I sort of got it all out on the page or however else someone would sort of air out how they're feeling, as long as you can do that, things I think will definitely improve, and I think that's a good takeaway. And I think I also, what I like when I listen to different artists is a sense of relatability. So I hope that if people do struggle with comparing themselves to other people, because I know I definitely did back then, I hope that they can sort of feel less alone in that, and see that it's a completely valid reaction. Um, and I actually have gotten that feedback from a lot of my friends when I wrote it, before I released it. I was like, is this invalid? Like, are people going to be like, this girl is nuts? And they were like, no, of course not. So I hope it makes other people feel a bit less nuts.
Great stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great because yeah, like your like music can really help a lot of people. You know, I've had artists on the podcast before that have different kind of messages on their in their music, and it really kind of can help other people along. So that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's really good. Yeah, thanks very much for that. And as an award-winning lyricist, how important are the lyrics to your music compared
Um,
to the compositions?
so I definitely think that, the instrumental is very, very important. But like as I said earlier, I definitely build them. I build the instrumental around my lyrics because I just think it's really important to be vulnerable and to relate to my own lyrics, and that's why I sort of don't really leave anything unsaid. And I do have I do have boundaries with myself. Some of them I'm like, this can never be heard by anyone else. But at least I wrote it and I said what I meant and I meant what I said. So I think that's really important is that if I'm going to release something or show other people that I relate to it, and I'll still have respect for what I said in the future.
Good stuff, yeah. And great stuff. And do you prioritize one over the other when you're creating a song? Like cat always.
Yeah, I definitely would prioritize lyrics. Um, because I feel like when you're being so honest and vulnerable, it would be tough if you weren't happy with
Yeah,
what you said afterwards. I don't really want to be left with regret if I said too much or if I said too little.
yeah,
So I think if you're going to be vulnerable, you should do it in the right way and do it in a way that you've made peace with and that you're happy with. So I think that's very important that I do that for myself. And then, everything else is quite important to me as well, but definitely lyrics are important.
definitely. Because people like to hear people's vulnerability, like because kind of people can relate to that, Anne
Yeah.
Marie. Yeah, so that's great. And how have you found the marketing of your music? Have you what have you found the best way in marketing your music?
Definitely through social media.
Yeah,
Because I obviously haven't gotten a chance to gig much.
yeah,
I think social media was my main thing, and I think, um, I actually like to like promote it a bit through my friends, and their family has have been so nice with sharing my music.
mm.
Um,
And
I
19
think
FM.
I really like
Yeah,
I really like meeting new people, and I think when I meet new people and they follow my social media,
mm,
they'll
yeah.
see my song, which is crazy because I met, two people from like Georgia a few weeks ago because they were here on a trip from what were they here for? They were here for the Georgia Tech match that was on in the Aviva.
Okay, yeah,
And
yeah,
once I made friends with them, gave them my social media, and then when my song came out, they DM'd me and they were like, "Oh my God, like I didn't know you made music." So I think
brilliant.
that's really like it's rewarding seeing that sort of putting myself out there socially also benefits my music and being nice to people.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah,
so definitely just through social media and just socially, but nothing else so far.
right, yeah. If your videos as well, what way do you find best ways to use to get the videos for your songs? No,
Um, well, I don't do music videos and stuff like that.
okay, you don't yet. No, sorry.
Not no, not right now, but my boyfriend does very good videos. He's very into like, cinematography and stuff like that. Or I
Okay,
don't even
yeah,
know be the word for it.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
definitely do plan on doing stuff like that because I
Mm,
help helped him just a few days ago with something for his YouTube channel. So I definitely am interested in doing that sometime soon.
Right, yeah. Because I was talking to someone recently, and basically all they did was put short videos of them playing the guitar and stuff, but you can make really good videos now with AI and all that stuff,
Yeah,
so it's
I
it's good.
I do TikTok and stuff like that.
Right, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but I'm interested in doing more sort of
Mm.
professionally filmed things. So.
Great stuff. And yeah, so that's great, Ellen Marie. Thanks a lot for coming on. And what's next for yourself that people are listening can expect from your music?
I'm gonna be working on a new song soon called Born in '05,
Right,
which
yeah.
is a lot more classically influenced.
Hmm.
Um, like in the instrumentals, and the lyrics are, I would dare to say, even more vulnerable than Cat Eyes. So I'm very excited to show people that song because I know a few people. I played it at my school graduation,
Right.
and people really liked it. So I think a few people are waiting for that one. So I think I owe it.
Yeah,
So I'm really excited for that one. I think it's the first song I wrote that made me cry. So I think that's very important to
yeah,
mention. I'm very excited
definitely.
to do that one. But I'm really proud of Cat Eyes as well. So, I'm gonna finish that out and then Born in '05 will be next, hopefully.
And can I ask as well, do you kind of do all your own stuff, or have you done covers as well, Ellen Marie?
Um, I've posted a few covers here and there. I wouldn't be a hugely cover focused artist. I just love writing. I write
Yeah, yeah.
maybe like I start a song every week. So I
Mm.
think that's definitely my favorite part of sort of my favorite side of the industry, but I definitely do enjoy doing covers because I love all kinds of music.
Yeah.
So
No, great stuff. Yeah, brilliant. And because, like, when you're starting out doing gigs, it's an idea to have a few covers in the bag,
yeah,
for that, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
really, it's kind of, yeah, yeah. And
yeah. I definitely do covers of,
yeah,
my
yeah.
favorite artists.
What I can do is just record, share your music on the show notes for people to check out.
I only have Cat Eyes and 17 out on platforms, so
Yeah,
for now I'm happy with that
yeah,
for
great
people.
stuff. Yeah, I'll share your music there. Great stuff.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank
So listen, I wish you all the success going forward at everything you do, Ella Marie. Thanks a lot for coming on the show.
you. Thank you for having me. It was a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah. Is there anything else I haven't asked you'd like to maybe share with people before you go?
I think I'm happy with what we've talked about today,
Yeah.
and
No,
I hope people can listen to Cat Eyes and enjoy it as much as I enjoyed writing it. So
definitely. All the success going forward, and make sure everybody to listen. I'm going to share all the links that Ella Marie is going to send me. So make sure you check them out and listen and subscribe to your channel. You've got a YouTube channel,
so
and
much.
yeah,
Yeah, I
great.
do. I
Yeah,
do.
great stuff.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Ella Marie. Great meeting you, and thanks everyone for listening to Mark's motivational podcast, Music Sunday. Join us again for another podcast next Tuesday, Authors Tuesday. Till then, take good care of yourselves. And thanks again, Ella Marie. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Mark here. Thank you for watching another episode of my Authors Tuesday podcast. I recently published a book of children's stories called The Adventures of Larry Lamppost and Friends. The book began life as bedtime stories I wrote for my own children. If you'd like to purchase my book, follow the link in the description box below. By buying my book, you are also supporting my podcast series for authors, which is giving a voice to writers in Ireland and across the world.